Well, good evening. Welcome back. For those of you who have been regular attendees, I don't need to remind you that this is designed to be fun and designed to be the sort of evening I would never dream of participating in as a contestant. I am creating a lovely, lovely, open, fun, and I've tried so hard not to make this so obscure and so weird. So we'll see how we do. I like trivia that's really hard, but I assure you, I've tried to be better with this. Because we are so excited for you to see our upcoming live production of Shout, the Mod musical, some of the questions will be about songs of the 60s, and some of the questions will be about musicals of the 60s. When I say songs, I'm referring to pop songs, okay? All right, question number one. Which 1960s musical with a score by Julie Stein won the Tony for Best Musical? A, Gypsy. B, Do Re Mi. C, Funny Girl. D, Hallelujah Baby. Type your answer now. Time's up. And to be clear, all you need to do is type the correct letter of the answer. Question number two. Only one of these 1960s shows won the Tony for Best Musical. Which one? A, Mame. B, Oliver. C, Fiddler on the Roof. D, Hair. E, She Loves Me. And time is up. Question number three is a true-false question. True or false? Mitch Lee, the composer of Man of La Mancha, and Carolyn Lee, the lyricist of Wildcat and Little Me, were married. True or false? And time is up. Question number four. Which of these 1960s musicals was not authored by Kander and Ebb? A, Cabaret. B, Flora the Red Menace. C, How Now Dow Jones. D, The Happy Time. And time is up. Question number five. Betty Comden and Adolph Green wrote lyrics, and in some cases, the book, for 4 of Julie Stein's musicals in the 1960s. Which one of these musicals is not a Stein, Comden, and Green collaboration? A, Do Re Mi. B, Subways Are for Sleeping. C, Fade Out, Fade In. D, Hallelujah Baby. E, High Spirits. And time is up. Question number 6. Which of these shows of the 1960s was not its respective creator's official Broadway debut as a writer or composer? A, Milk and Honey by Jerry Herman. B, 1776 by Peter Stone. C, Oliver by Lionel Bart. D, Promises, Promises, Burt Bacharach. E, Stop the World, I Want to Get Off, Leslie Bricusse. And time's up. Question number 7. Michael Bennett received choreographer credit for 4 Broadway musicals in the 1960s. One of these was not choreographed by him. Which one? A, Promises, Promises. B, Coco. C, Bajour. D, Henry, Sweet Henry. Time's up. Question number 8. Sweet Charity was based on a foreign film by a famous director. Which one of these following directors? Which one of these following films? A, Nights of Cabiria. B, Smiles of a Summer Night. C, La Grande Illusion. D, Rashomon. And time's up. Question number 9. Which Tony-winning 1960s musical is set primarily in the town of Sweet Apple, Ohio? A, High Spirits. B, Bye Bye Birdie. C, I Do, I Do. D, No Strings. E, Hair. And time's up. And the final question in this first round, question number 10. Patrick Dennis wrote books that became the basis of which 2 1960s Broadway musicals? A, The Happy Time and Mame. B, Cabaret and How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. C, Mame and Little Me. D, Hallelujah Baby and No Strings. Time is up. If you would submit your Google Forms now so that Dallas can then check them and we will find out who is going on to the next round. Round 1 is over. Submit your forms. So question number 1, which 60s musical with a score by Julie Stein won the Tony for Best Musical? That was D, Hallelujah Baby. He didn't win a Tony for Gypsy. Gypsy was under-rewarded. Question 2, only one of these 1960s shows won the Tony for Best Musical. The only one of those, that list, Mame, Oliver, Fiddler, Hair, and She Loves Me, is Fiddler on the Roof, which did win the Tony for Best Musical in 1964 or 5, I can't remember, or 3, somewhere in there. Mitch Lee and Carolyn Lee are not related. They were not married. They had nothing whatsoever to do with each other. So that answer was false. Which of these 60s musicals was not authored by Kander and Ebb? They wrote Cabaret. They wrote Flora the Red Menace. They wrote The Happy Time. They did not write How Now, Dow Jones. Betty Comden and Adolph Green wrote lyrics and in some cases the book for these Julie Stein musicals: Do Re Mi, Subways Are for Sleeping, Fade Out, Fade In, and Hallelujah Baby. They did not have anything to do with High Spirits. Question 6, which of these shows was not its respective creator's official Broadway debut as a writer or composer? Jerry Herman's debut was Milk and Honey. Lionel Bart's Broadway debut was Oliver. Burt Bacharach's Broadway debut was Promises, Promises, and Leslie Bricuss's Broadway debut was Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. But Peter Stone, who wrote the book to 1776, had already written and had produced the musicals Keane and Skyscraper before 1776. Michael Bennett choreographed Promises, Promises. He choreographed Coco. He choreographed Henry, Sweet Henry, but he was in the cast of Bajur and did not, that we know, choreograph it. Sweet Charity was based on Fellini's Nights of Cabiria. It was not Smiles of a Summer Night, La Grande Illusion, or Rashomon. The Tony-winning 60s musical set primarily in the town of Sweet Apple, Idaho, was Bye Bye Birdie. And Patrick Dennis wrote best-selling books that became the basis of the following Broadway musicals, Mame and Little Me. So, Dallas, Jen, where are we? Do we have 10 people who easily go on to the next round?
So we actually have a 6-way tie.
Okay. Does that mean there are 15 people who?
No, so what that means is that we've got 7 who are ready to go forward, and then there's 3 that we could, up to you. How would you like?
So who are the 7 that are going forward?
We've got Andy and Marcy Bates, Carol Dupe Muller, Jay Steele, Dwight McBride, Tipu, oh my goodness, Tipu Purkayasna. You're gonna have to help me with that one. Elise Cook and Patrice Cook.
Elise and Patrice are playing separately?
Yes, they have 2 different forms.
Excellent. All right, so who are my 6 people that are tied?
We've got Edie Kerr, Linda Solis, Dina Jacobson, Rachel Mitchellberg, and Steve Sammons.
That's 5.
Oh, sorry, 5. Oh, Brett Bain.
Oh, and Brett. Hi, Brett. All right, so here's what I need. We're gonna go in order. Edie, Linda, Dina, Rachel, Steve, Brett. I'm going to need you to go through the alphabet, and I'm going to need you to give me the name of a Broadway musical that starts with that letter. The words a, an, and the do not count. And so, for instance, so we'll start with B. I'll give you an example of A. If I gave you A, you could say The Apple Tree, and that would be your A answer. I would like it if your answers were musicals from the 60s. So no ragtime, no a chorus line. Now, it'll weed the 6 of you out so much faster if we do it that way. So,
like immediately.
Okay, and just listen. If you are wrong, turn your microphones off. Okay, if you are wrong, the same letter passes to the next person. So Edie, if you don't get the B, yours is a B, Edie. If you don't get a B, then Linda gets a B. And Linda's sitting there thinking of all the C musicals, and then she's thrown off because Edie missed and now she has to do a B. So you have to listen, okay? Edie, a B musical goes to you.
Bye Bye Birdie.
Edie is correct. Linda, a C musical goes to you. After you've answered, shut your microphone off again.
Camelot.
Linda got Camelot. Excellent. Now, Linda, turn your mic off. Dina, a D musical goes to you.
Dear World.
Dear World is correct. Okay, this is good. Turn your microphone off. Rachel, an E musical goes to
Evita.
1970s. I'm sorry, that's correct. Rachel, you're out. Steve, an E musical goes to you.
Oh God, I was ready for F.
Turn your microphones off.
E musical from the 60s. Oh my gosh.
Five seconds.
Yeah. I got blank.
And the reason you've got a blank, Steve, is there are no E musicals in the 1960s. So Steve,
I protest then.
then we're going back to Rachel, and Rachel, give me an F.
Rachel Inman.
Fioretto.
You are right. Steve, give me a G.
G from the 60s. I think it's too late. I'm going to say Gypsy, but I think that's the 50s.
Gypsy counts. Gypsy opened in 1959, but was eligible for the 1960 Tonys, and we count it as a 60s musical. So G counts. H goes to Brett.
Hello, Dolly.
H is Hello, Dolly. That is correct. I goes back to Edie.
Did we miss Tipu? Oh, no.
Tipu's already,
I do.
already going on. I goes to Edie.
I do.
I do is correct. Linda, you get J.
And it has to be from the 60s?
It has to be from the 60s.
Ah, I can think of some that aren't from the 60s. I'm blank. Pass.
All right, so Linda, hold on. I'm going to double check you. That's because there are no J musicals from the 60s. Okay, and guess what, Linda? There are no K, L, M, or N. So yours is an O musical, Linda.
From the 60s.
There's definitely a K.
Who just said that?
Sounded like Elise.
Elise says there's a K musical. Well, we'll see. We'll give her K when it's her turn.
Elise's dog. So my musical is O. Sorry about that.
Your musical, your letter is O.
From the 60s?
What about N?
I'm still working on O. All I can think of is Once Upon a Mattress. Is that 60s? Or
That is 60s, and you are right. There you go.
Okay.
That is Once
Okay.
Upon a Mattress.
Oh, shoot. I'm still in it. Okay, go on.
Oh, shoot, I'm still in it. She says, oh, that's not fair. Oh, okay. All right. So that means the next person is Dina. And I've gone and I've gotten the book off the shelf that is more reliable than the stupid Wikipedia. So I'm going to look at my book. See, this is why librarians like real books and not the internet for doing research. And here is my list of my 60s musicals, alphabetical.
Well, do I get P?
Hold on. Who is it? Dina? You're
Yeah.
going to get P.
Peter Pan.
50s. Sorry. Rachel.
Oh.
P.
P. I'm drawing a blank.
Rachel, you have 5 more seconds.
Okay. I'm out.
All right. Rachel's out. Steve.
Promises.
Oh,
Yes, everybody kill your microphones. Kill your microphones, please. I can't wait to hear what Elise thinks was a K musical in the 1960s, but we'll get to that in a minute. So Steve is in. Brett, your letter is no Q's. We'll go to R.
Redhead.
50s. Sorry, Brett is out. So Edie, Linda, and Steve, it's down to you, and we're going to go to the letter S. Edie.
I'm thinking.
Hang on there. Don't you have to go back to R? He didn't have an R, so you got to do an R.
Oh my God, Edie, do an R.
Do an R, not redhead.
So Walter, we do have 3 to get us.
Oh, is that all I
okay.
need is those 3? Oh, excellent.
That's all you
Good done.
need.
That's all we needed.
Okay.
So a good R would have been the roar of the grease paint, the smell of the crowd.
Mhm.
What was the K, Elise?
So this is Patrice. It's Kwamamina was in the 60s.
You are absolutely right, but no one knows Kwamina.
As was King with Alfred Drake. So
Oh, that is,
to me,
you're
Alfred Drake
impossible.
is more probable.
And L is little me.
L
Yeah.
is indeed little me. All right, we're going on, and Dallas has posted in the chat those who are in round 2. Andy and Marcy, only one of you can play. Carol, Jay, Dwight, Tipu, Elise, Patrice, Edie, Linda, and Steve. You are our contestants for round 2. Jen, do you have any commercials or words for us before we go on to round 2?
Just one quick one. The e-studio, this is where you guys should have found this. We are continuing that program by popular demand. So join if you haven't joined. Pass it on to all your friends and family. It's something that we are trying to keep alive and grow. So hopefully you've enjoyed all our e-studio productions. We are working on some more content that we will announce in the future, and somebody's son on here will be participating in a cabaret.
Don't forget it recorded, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. He's going to do a cabaret, but he won't come to my trivia night. Fine.
So if you haven't guessed, it's Steve's son that we are working with to put on a cabaret in his lovely voice. And so hopefully you'll be able to join us. And again, join the eStudio membership if you haven't done so. All right, all yours,
So
Walter.
in round 2, there are 10 of you, and we would like the 10 participants in this round only to turn their videos on, but please keep your microphones off. Everyone else can use the chat to gossip now, but please don't give away answers. And remember that the decisions of the judges are final. In round 2, there are 11 questions with 14 possible points.
Where's the form?
Dwight, you're getting ahead of me again.
Oh,
In round 2, you will use the raise hand button that Zoom has provided for you. So now we're going to demonstrate the raise hand button. All right, everybody who has the raise hand button, put your hand up. Not that hand, it's a button on your screen. There it is, Dwight, you just put it up, excellent. All right, so I see Patrice, Steve, Jay, Edie, Tipu, Elise, Linda, Carol. That sounded like 8 to me. Everybody put your hands down. And everybody put your hands up again, all 10 of you that are in the next round.
I do not know where the raise hand button is.
Jay Steele, where is the raised hand button?
Oh, there we go. Got it.
Andy found it. All right, so now we have Jay, Elise, Patrice, Linda, Steve, Tipu, Carol, Edie, Andy. I've got 11. I've got 9, not 10. It's Dwight. You didn't raise your hand.
There you go.
And Dwight is up now.
I raised it, but it went back down.
Yeah, it will go back down, or you can turn it off. But when I ask you for a question and you want to come in, I'm going to ask you. That's when you have to raise your hand to let me know. You click your raised hand, and then if I call on you, because I'll call on whoever's hand I see first, then you will unmute and say your answer. If you interrupt a clue, I will stop reading, and then you will have to answer based on what I've read thus far. There will be a timekeeper, and the timekeeper will post a time's up, and it'll be clearly announced after 10 seconds. And please remember, and we'll remind you to remute after the result of each question that is announced. If you answer incorrectly when you raise your hand, the host will finish reading the clue if necessary, and then another player may signal and try. Tipu, put your hand down. Linda, put your hand down. There we go. I will always say the name of the player with the correct answer, and your points received at the end of each question will also be announced. I'll say, that's 1 point for Sarah, and a running tally is being done by the staff. So, Shout, the Mod musical, which is opening in September on our stage in Saratoga, references or outright performs over 25 songs from the swingin' 60s. All the questions for this round will deal with songs from that show and that era. Question number 1. Shout should really be called the Petula Clark musical, as many of the songs featured in the show were made into hits in the UK and also the US by Petula Clark. Which of these songs from Shout is not associated with Petula Clark? A, Downtown. B, Sign of the Times. C, 1, 2, 3. D, I Couldn't Live Without Your Love. E, Don't Sleep in the Subway. And the first hand up is Jay Steele. Jay, what's your answer?
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3 is correct. 1 point for Jay Steele. Everybody else, put your hands down. Question number, Edie, hand down. Question number 2. One of these groups is not associated with a song in Shout. The Isley Brothers, the Beatles, the Association, the Seekers, the Young Rascals. Edie, your hand was up first.
The Beatles.
That is correct. 1 point for Edie. Everyone put your hands down. Question number 3. Which singer's hits are featured in Shout 5 times by the songs I Only Want to Be With You, Wishin' and Hopin', I Just Don't Know What to Do With Myself, and Edie Kerr, you are the first one with a hand up.
Dusty Springfield.
Dusty Springfield is correct. The other songs were You Don't Have to Say You Love Me and Son of a Preacher Man. 1 point for Edie. Yeah, if we weren't going to subtitle it after Petula Clark, it could be called the Dusty Springfield musical. All right, question number 4. Now, Dusty Springfield's recording of the theme from the 1967 James Bond film Casino Royale was one of her biggest hits, but it didn't make it into Shout because the song's writers wouldn't let it be in the show. The song's writers were Burt Bacharach and Hal David. What was the title of the song from Casino Royale? Time's up. No one rung in. The correct answer was The Look of Love. All right, question number 5. But one Bond song does make an appearance in Shout in a parody of Patrice Cook.
What is Goldfinger?
Goldfinger is correct. 1 point for Patrice. Goldfinger is used as the centerpiece of Shout's Cold Finger sequence, which defies description. You'll have to see it to believe it. Question number 6. The music to the title song from Goldfinger was written by legendary film composer John Barry, who also created the famous James Bond theme that is used in Shout. The lyrics to Goldfinger were written by which pair of British writers, co-authors of the 1965 musical, The Roar of the Grease Paint, The Smell of the Crowd? Patrice Cook.
Who are Newley and Brickus?
Newley and Brickus are correct. You're not Patrice. Oh, there you are. There's Patrice. I can't see because your names are all in front of me. So 1 point for Patrice. Hands down. Question number 7. Now, listen carefully to this one because it's a little wacky. This song was originally written in Italian, and its title was Il Mio Mondo. A version of this song is used in Shout because that was the one that was produced by George Martin for his protege Cilla Black, and it was new and they wrote completely new and unrelated English lyrics based solely on the title. It went to #1 in the UK, and it was a worldwide hit. But then in the United States, it was later covered by Helen Reddy and Tom Jones, who also had giant hits with the song. What was the English title of Il Mio Mondo? Patrice Cook.
Is it me again? Sorry.
Patrice.
Those were the days.
That is incorrect. Hands down. Who would like to take another shot? Tipu.
You're My World.
You're My World is correct. 1 point for Tipu. So question number 8, put your hands down, Tipu and Jay. You're My World was Cilla Black's only top 40 hit in the US, but she introduced Anyone Who Had a Heart and Alfie to great success in the UK. Who did the smash hit American versions? Carol Duke Miller. Unmute yourself, Carol Duke Miller, and tell us.
Dionne Warwick.
Dionne Warwick is correct. 1 point for Carol Duke Miller. Hands down. Question number 9. Once upon a time, there was a tavern is the opening line to this song from Shout, an ode to nostalgia and good times. Patrice Cook.
Those were the days.
Now you're correct, Patrice Cook. Yes. 1 point for Patrice Cook.
I actually listened to this thing.
The song was produced by Paul McCartney, and it was Apple Records' second released single after Hey Jude. And this song hit #2 on the Billboard Hot 100, just behind Hey Jude. Hands down, everybody. Who was the singer of Those Were the Days? Edie Kerr.
Mary Hopkins.
Say it again, Mary.
Mary Hopkins.
Mary Hopkins was correct. 1 point for Edie Kerr. Hands down, please. Question 10. Featuring a famous bass line with a distinctive quarter tone descent and not a single G ending to its many present progressive ing verbs, this Shout highlight was a #1 hit for a superstar singer's daughter. Carol Duke Miller.
Wishing and hoping.
Incorrect. Let me finish. Linda Solis just buzzed in. Linda?
These boots are made for walking.
These boots are made for walking is correct.
Total guess.
Hands down. Who was the singer of These Boots Were Made for Walking? Jay Steele.
Nancy Sinatra.
Nancy Sinatra was correct. 1 point for Jay Steele, 1 point for Linda Solis. Hands down, please. Question number 11. Put your hand down, Jay. The Australian group The Seekers had their biggest hit with the title song for a 1966 film of the same name. Edie Kerr.
Georgie Girl.
God love you. 1 point for Edie Kerr. I didn't even have to give the lyric, and I was going to give a lyric and everything. 1 point for Edie. All right, that gets us to the end of round 2. What's my score look like, Jen?
So you've got Edie Kerr in first with 4 points, followed by Patrice with 3. And then you've got Jay Steele with 2. And then you've got a 3-way tie with Carol, Tipu, and Steve.
All right, so I don't normally have Tipu and Steve. I don't normally have this tie when I go to the round 3, but I'm going to let the 6 of you go on to round 3. I'm just going to allow it because we're being loosey-goosey. Edie, put your hand down. And let me tell you about round 3. The 6 of you in this round need to turn on your audio and your video. Everyone else, turn off your audio and turn off your video. Contestants must make their own distinct buzz-in sound, okay? You have to make it with your mouth. So Edie, let's hear your buzz-in sound. I lost it. Try it again. Oh my God. Are you going erp?
Yes.
Perfect. Patrice?
Boink, boink.
Boink, boink. Jay? I didn't hear it, whatever it was.
Waddle, waddle, waddle.
Oh my God. All right, Carol? Try it again, Carol. Okay, some of you who are doing little ones are going to get lost. You might want to do them very loudly. Tipu?
Can I do this?
I heard a lot of static. Try it again. I'm not hearing it.
Doesn't come through.
I can see your hand, but no sound is coming through.
All right,
I
let me try a
think-
different one.
I think the noise reduction thing we all clicked is working against us in this.
All right, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Do the best you can. Tipu, give me a sound.
Woof.
There you go. And Steve, give me your sound.
Booyah.
Booyah. All right. You must buzz in to be recognized before answering. And let me tell you, shouting out the answer will cause points to be deducted, because in this round, if you are incorrect, the host will say, sorry, and you lose the point. And then another contestant gets to finish the question by buzzing in when the host says anyone else. There will be a timekeeper, and a time's up will be clearly announced after 10 seconds in this round. The decision of the judges is final. And there are 10 questions with 21 possible points. There's no way you're going to get 21 points, so don't worry about it. These first 4 questions identify the 1960s Broadway musical British imports from the members of the original Broadway cast. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 5 points if you get it on the first one, 4 on the second one, 3 on the third one, 2. Buzz in whenever you think you know, okay? Question number 1. Alice Playton,
Boink,
Clive,
boink.
Patrice Cook.
Stop the world, I want to get off.
Incorrect. You're out for this round. Going on for this question. Going on, Clive Revel.
Erp.
Edie.
Oliver.
Edie is correct. 4 points for Edie. God, Edie, you know your 60s musicals. This will be fun. Question.
Yeah, it's
number
my age
2.
showing.
Everybody get your whistles wet. Here we go. Question number 2. Anna Quayle, Jennifer Baker, Susan Baker, Anthony Newley.
Boink, boink.
Carol Duke Miller.
Stop the world.
Stop the World, I Want to Get Off is correct. 2 points for Carol Duke Miller. Question number 3. Carrie Nye, John Cleese, Grover Dale, Tommy Steele.
Boink, boink.
Patrice.
Half a sixpence.
Half a sixpence is correct. 2 points for Patrice. Yes, John Cleese was in the Broadway cast of Half a Sixpence. Question number 4. This will be the last one of this type. Kay Cole, Gilbert Price, Cyril Richard, Anthony Newley.
Boink, boink.
Edie went first.
Roar the grease tank to smell the crowd.
Edie is correct. 2 points for Edie. And that ends that, because there were really only 4 British imports in the 60s that I thought you guys could have gotten in any way, shape, or form. So I'm very proud of you. Question number 5. After the death of Oscar Hammerstein, Richard Rodgers wrote 4 musicals that made it to Broadway, 2 of them in the 1960s.
Boink, boink.
Patrice.
What are no strings and do I hear a waltz?
She is correct. Name the lyricists.
Who are Richard Rogers and Stephen Sondheim?
She is correct. 4 points total for Patrice. Question 6. What 1960s musical featured Barbra Streisand's Broadway debut?
Point.
That would be Edie.
Funny girl.
Incorrect.
Oh,
Patrice.
no.
What is, I can get it for you wholesale.
I can get it for you. Wholesale is correct. 1 point for Patrice. Next question, open to all. What was the name of Barbra Streisand's character in I Can Get It For You Wholesale?
Point, point.
That would be Patrice again.
What is Miss Marmalstein?
Miss Marmalstein is correct. 1 more point for Patrice. This next question is open to everyone. Who was the leading man of I Can Get It For You Wholesale? Who Barbra Streisand and Patrice?
Who is Elliot Gould?
Elliot Gould is correct. What I was going to finish with, who Barbra Streisand married. 1 more point for Patrice. Question number 7. In which show did Angela Lansbury make her Broadway musical debut?
Point, point.
Patrice?
What is Anyone Can Whistle?
You are correct. This next 1 point for Patrice. This next question is open to everyone. What was the name of Lansbury's character in that play?
Boink, boink.
Patrice?
What is Mayor Cora? I don't remember her last name. Cora something.
Okay, I like that, but if anyone can come up with the whole name, I'm going to give it to them. Can anyone come up with the whole name?
I should know this.
Jay?
Cora Hoover Hooper.
Oh, so close.
Hoover.
No, you were right. Hooper. You're right. You're right. You're right. This is, yes, Cora Hoover Hooper is the mayoress of Anyone Town and Can Whistle. So that was 1 point for Patrice and 1 point for Jay. Question number 8. In what 1969 show did Katharine Hepburn make her Broadway musical debut?
Boink, boink.
Patrice?
What is Coco?
Coco is correct. This 1 point for Patrice. This question is open. This question is open to all. What was the name of Katharine Hepburn's character in Coco?
Boink, boink.
Patrice?
What's Coco Chanel?
Very good. 1 point for Patrice.
I knew that too.
All right. Question number 9. If you get this one. Okay. Question number 9. In what 1960s musical did Vivian Lee make her Broadway musical debut? Oh God, Patrice.
What's Tovarich?
Tovarich is correct. This is open to all. What was the name of Lee's character in Tovarich? And I'm calling it, her character's name was Tatiana. Okay, question number 10. What was the only original Lerner and Loewe musical to play on Broadway in the 60s? That was Edie.
Camelot.
Camelot is correct. This question is open to all. Who were the 2 stars of Camelot? Carol Muller.
Richard Burton and Julie Andrews.
Great. So 1 point for Edie, 2 points for Carol Muller. And lastly, open to all. Who directed Camelot?
Boink, boink.
Patrice.
Is Moss Hart?
Moss Hart is correct. 1 point for Patrice. All right, that brings us to the end of round 3. Only 2 of you will go on to the next round. Jen, who are those 2?
We will see a showdown between Edie and Patrice.
Yes, nice. All
Sounds
right,
familiar.
y'all. You guys are doing far better on this than I thought. But I love that Edie says, well, my age is showing. All right, great, Edie. We'll see how we do with this next one, okay?
I'm like, this is my era.
I know. Okay, oh, that dog. Okay, so your audio and your video is on. Everybody else, turn off your audio, turn off your video. So the fun thing about the last round is that everything is pass or play. And I tried to make the questions harder than the one before. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. The high scorer always gets to go first. So Patrice will get the first question. And if Patrice answers correctly, she may choose either to pass or play. If she passes, the other player can attempt to answer the question. Incorrect answers will result in play moving to the other contestant. Next question option always goes to the last correct answerer. There will be a timekeeper, and a time's up will be clearly announced after 10 seconds in this round. Decision of the judges are final. Oh, sorry. And if you answer incorrectly, I deduct a point.
Oh, yeah, that part.
Oh, yeah, that part. Okay. All right. 10 questions with 15 possible points. Patrice, this first question is for you. Gower Champion directed the 1961 musical Carnival, the story of a small circus in post-war Europe. It featured Anna Maria Alberghetti and Jerry Orbach in the leads. What Leslie Caron film was it based on?
Lily.
Lily is correct. 1 point for Patrice. Pass or play?
I'll play.
Question number 2. After making her debut in House of Flowers, Diane Carroll tied with Anna Maria Alberghetti for the 1962 Tony as Best Leading Actress for the musical No Strings. Who was her nominated but not winning co-star?
Richard Kiley.
Richard Kiley is correct. 1 point for Patrice. Pass or play?
I'll play.
Spell Diane Carroll.
Uh-oh. Diancarroll. I wish I had a poster in front of me. I don't. Ow. I don't know.
Sorry, that is incorrect.
I
Edie,
knew that was
would you
incorrect.
like to try to spell Diane Carroll? -1
Yes.
for Patrice.
Diancarroll.
That is correct. 1 point for Edie. Yeah, I always had to remind myself to say Diane Carroll. That's the only way I could remember it. All right, so Edie, question number 4 is for you. Ties in the Best Actress in a Musical category were not uncommon in the early days of the Tonys. Thelma Ritter and Gwen Verdon tied for New Girl in Town in 1958, and 10 years later, there was another tie for Best Actress. Who shared the award and for what shows did they win? 1968, Best Actress in a Musical.
1968 was Jill St. John for Cabaret. And Ethel Berman for Gypsy.
Okay, but no, wrong on all counts. But nice try.
Wait, well, who is the second one?
So
Who
I'm
am
only, well, both of them were wrong. So I'm gonna give, they were both wrong. Jill
both
St.
wrong.
John, if she did Cabaret, it passed me up. It was Jill Haworth who originated the role.
Ow.
And Jill Haworth was not nominated for a Tony for that role.
Okay.
Okay, so Patrice, would you like a shot at this?
I would like a shot at this. I'm
All
going to
right,
say
1968, Best
Well-
Actress in a Musical.
Leslie Uggams for Hallelujah Baby and Patricia Rutledge for Darling of the Day.
She is correct. 4 points
Oh.
for Patrice, -1 for Edie. And now we go, Patrice, pass or play?
I will play, but that was a hard question.
That was a hard
Yes.
question. Jen, can I have a score update, please?
Yes, you have Patrice with 5 and Edie at 0 at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question number 5. This is for Patrice. Man of La Mancha ran for 2,329 performances and is the show most folks remember Richard Kiley for. He did not play the entire run, however, and had several notable replacements. Which of these actors did not play Cervantes Quixote in the original run of the Broadway production of Man of La Mancha? Hal Holbrook, Michael Redgrave, Keith Michelle, John Cullum, or Jose Ferrer? One of them did not. Patrice?
I'm gonna say John Cullum because he was busy doing other things.
That is incorrect. -1 point for Patrice. Edie, you want to take a stab at it? You can pass.
No, I want to take a stab at it, but I'm trying to remember.
Your remaining categories, your remaining contestants, Hal Holbrook, Michael Redgrave, Keith Michelle, and Jose Ferrer. One of them did not play the role.
Michael Redgrave.
Michael Redgrave is correct. 1 point for Edie. The part was originally written for Michael Redgrave in the early development of the show, but he never played the part. There were behind the scenes machinations. Okay. So Edie, pass or play?
Play.
Number 6. The groundbreaking American tribal love rock musical Hair began at the New York Shakespeare Festival in 1967, transferring to the Biltmore Theater on Broadway on April 29th, 1968. The show went through many changes along the way, with songs cut, rearranged, and rewritten, and new songs incorporated into the show. In fact, if you are a vinyl collector, there are at least 4 versions of Hair recorded before it even made it to Broadway. It's fascinating. So the lyrics are credited to James Radu and Jerome Ragney, although 2 of the songs added to Act 2 had a notable co-lyricist. Who was it?
I'm stumped.
Okay, so -1 point for Edie. Patrice, would you like a stab at it?
Does it cost me a point just to guess?
Yes, it does. If you get it wrong, you lose a point.
I have no clue.
So it's all right. There's a part 2 to this question where Edie can make a chance to get some points. The co-lyricist was William Shakespeare.
Oh.
Edie, what were the 2 songs that Shakespeare contributed the lyrics to in Hair, Act 2?
Act 2. Easy to be hard. No.
5 more seconds. Time's up. Patrice, would you like to take a stab at it?
Oh, no, thank you.
Okay, no points lost, no points gained. The 2 songs were What a Piece of Work Is Man and Eyes Look Your Last, which is the counter melody to The Flesh Failures.
Oh.
All right, Edie, you are still the last correct answerer. So question number 7 goes to you.
Okay.
In his opening monologue from 1776, John Adams calls one useless man a disgrace, and 3 or more become a Congress. What are 2 useless men?
Disgrace. A law firm.
She is correct. 1 point for Edie. Edie, pass or play?
Play.
Edie, complete this lyric from a song from Shout the Mod musical. If you wanted the sky, I'd write across the sky in letters that would soar 1,000 feet high.
Feet high. I know this. To stir with love.
Correct. 1 point for Edie. Pass or play, Edie?
Okay, I'll play.
Complete the lyric from a song from Shout the Mod musical. The lights are much brighter there. You can forget all your troubles, forget all your cares. So go.
On Broadway.
Incorrect.
Oh.
-1 for Edie. Patrice, chance to steal.
Downtown.
Downtown is correct.
Oh,
1 point for Patrice. And the final question, I'm dying to know, Jen, where are we score-wise?
So we've got Edie with 1 and Patrice with 5.
Oh, great.
So Edie, Patrice can go out on this. Nothing bad can happen. Here we go. Patrice, complete the lyric from a song from Shout the Mod musical. Don't sleep in the subway, darling. Don't stand in the pouring rain. Don't sleep in the subway, darling. The night is long.
I have no idea.
Forget your foolish pride, nothing's wrong. Now you're beside me again. Ba, 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 ba. You have to see Shout because they do this beautifully. -1 for Patrice, but I believe that with a total of 4 points, correct me if I'm wrong, Jen, that means our winner tonight is Patrice Cook.
Yes, it is.
Well, you know, 60s musicals, it is my,
That was quite impressive from everyone.
You guys did really well. I thought, and I tried so hard to make this achievable. So
So I think that's it. I'm so bummed that we didn't get to go to the last question. Can we ask the last question just for
no, we
fun?
cannot because Jen, that question has been there waiting for there to be a tie at the end, and I've never had one. So I'm going to hold on to it until the day when there might be a tie. Should there ever be another Zoom trivia night, then maybe someday there'll be a tie between our contestants at the end. One of these days, I'm hoping to get Mike Rohn here, but Mike Rohn is always busy doing 47 other things because I just want you to know, I write all of these questions for Mike Rohn. I just imagine Mike Rohn either answering them or being stumped, because if I can stump Mike Rohn, I'm very happy. So there you are.
I hope he knows we're talking about him right now.
He can probably feel it as his plane is landing at SFO.
There we go.
He's saying the rest of us should never show up and it should just be Mike.
Oh my God. Well, I have threatened to just like print up. I threatened to just print up all the things and ask him. So
Mike Rohn is in town, so he has no excuse.
Well, he's been flying all day, so yeah.
Probably
gotta have a
say
handicap
something
of some
about
kind.
jet lag or.
Well, Jen, probably, I mean, maybe we'll do one between now and then, but maybe before company opens, we could do one that's about the 70s. Or an all Sondheim evening of trivia. An all Sondheim trivia night.
All right, Walter, pull out your calendar. Let's put this in.
I can do it.
how about an all Sondheim of the 70s trivia?
Well, that's when the 5 good musicals are, so that's probably a good plan.
Well, I mean, Funny Thing is good.
Okay. I directed it. I know it's good. Thank you.
This is not even a trivia game for me. This is like history. Like I'm learning because there's just so much musicals. There's so many musicals out there.
There are years where it's like when you look at like the year that Sweet Charity and Maine lost to Man of La Mancha. That's a great. I mean,
Yeah.
These were great years in the musical theater. You know,
or that Barbara Streisand lost as
to
Fanny
Hello
Price
Dolly.
to Carol Channing.
Yeah, Funny Girl lost to Hello Dolly. I mean, there were some years there where, I mean, you got 4 of the best Bach and Harnichts, you've got great Kander and Ebb, you've got the great Jerry Hermans, most of the great Jerry Hermans.
Yeah, if it's the 60s is fun to do and the 70s is fun to do. The 80s would be a disaster. It would be such a horror.
80s or 90s, 70s.
I want to forget those 2 decades existed for Broadway.
There's a lot of transition in this.
My high school and college years sucked.
I'm sorry, Elise.
So Sarah, I think what we need is actually a showdown between Walter and Mike Rohn. That sounds like that needs to happen.
Yeah, but who's gonna write the questions for that? Who
Yeah,
knows?
I don't,
Yeah,
Not her.
true.
you have
That
Brad
was helpful
Hanshy, you have
questions
Brad
for that.
Hanshy write the questions.
That's
That's
a
writes the
good-
questions.
So my
Mhm.
my 50th birthday dinner that's a year and a half past due, Walter cooking for me from the auction is a Walter and Mike Roan as my guest dinner discussing trivia. I've already booked Mike on it and I paid for Walter to cook for me.
I don't have a date on my calendar, Marcy.
I know, we need to get a date on the calendar.
I had a date to go cook at Sarah's and she canceled on me because her life is unmanageable.
I'm with you.
It's busy over here.
It's-
We're a little
What
busy.
else do you have going on?
You know, load in is Friday now because everything has to be adjusted.
Wait. Load in is Friday? I'm supposed to be at this thing on Saturday.
What thing are you supposed to? We're not loading in on
It's
Saturday.
both days. It's both days.
Oh, okay. You've been wrangled somewhere.
When do I make the truck go up and down?
Can you be there Friday?
I cannot. I work, school.
Oh,
You people with jobs.
so if you want the long story, Monarch, our truck rental place, is now closed because of COVID on the weekends. So what is normally, if we were to rent it for Saturday, what would be normally a 1-day rental is now 4 or 5 because of the holiday. So we're moving it forward so that we can keep our 1-day truck rental. It's this is the type of thing that everything involved with the show right now is like, oh, we got to rethink about this. So, but you guys, the songs last night, they made me cry during Downtown. The lyrics and the effort is just phenomenal. So we cannot wait to share it with all of you. So thank you.